Gonna have a drum roll.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning to Stephen. We're welcoming a really special guest today. I think she's like me, sweltering in the heat here in sunny Holland, literally sunny Holland today. We're thrilled to have Annemarie Verdel with us today. She's an accomplished artist. She'll hopefully we'll have an opportunity to look a little bit around her studio. I know she's a great bird lover. We've also been able to mint some NFTs of hers in the past. Yeah, we're absolutely fascinated to know what has brought her to this point in life, because I know for a fact that she had a very serious commercial career before taking up art full time. So we're fascinated to know what that's all about. So enough from me, and I'm going to pass you straight over to Annemarie, and short intro, Annemarie, and then we'll just find out more about you and your art.
Thank you. Just a short intro about myself.
You can intro whether it's 30 seconds or 30 hours. We don't care. This is for you. We just sit here and look pretty. And then David's nurse will come in an hour. And
okay, so just answering your question on how I got to be where I am right now?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. Well, painting has always been my passion ever since I was a small child. I think I could draw and paint sooner than I could walk, probably. And I've always done it. I've done it painting and drawing in high school. I had, well, the teacher said I had talent, and then they encouraged me to go to the Arts Academy, but I didn't dare to do it at the time because I thought that would be a very insecure life. And so I decided to go to uni instead and study Chinese languages and cultures. So I studied in China as well, in Beijing, and studied the old cultures, Confucianism, Taoism, all really interesting philosophies. And I didn't really paint back then, but I did lots of calligraphy, something that is probably going to come through in my work in the coming years or so. Probably. Anyway, that's a sidestep. So, and after that, I started to work for Shell, the oil company, something completely different. And I joined there as a graduate in human resources, and basically was in this trajectory to go to the upper management of the company. And I've done that for 11 years. Although I already knew after a couple of years that I wasn't going to do this for my whole life, because being in an office just kills me. But I thought it would be good to get some experience out there. And I was working in Singapore and in Paris, for which I was really grateful. And I've always painted on the side. So I actually started working part-time at some point to do more of the classes that I wanted to do. I was a trainee of well, we call that in Dutch, a master painter for 5 years. So I worked very closely with him just to study the trade of, not the trade, but the skills of painting itself. So basically that's how it started for me, just the love of painting and to look at the world and to be able to capture that on a canvas. And at some point after I was in Paris and I had 2 small boys as well, I decided that it was enough. I have had enough experience in the grown-up world working in an office, and I stopped to pursue this. So I've been doing this now for over 4 years full time, and it's just getting better and better. It's really I wish I had started sooner when I was younger, when I didn't have a lot of other responsibilities. But so if anyone is listening, just do it. You can always go into the grown-up world afterwards if it doesn't work out. But I'm actually loving it right now, just doing what I do. And as you can see, obviously, I love nature, animals. They're my biggest inspiration. But I've
so how many years have you been painting, if you will, professionally, where you like art today, where people actually buy your work?
That would be, I think I sold my first painting 3 years ago.
Wow, yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. So it's gone quite quickly.
Right.
And what I love about it is that a lot of people will tell you it's not going to work out, or it's too hard and there's so much competition. and although I also have a road to go, right? I have certain ambitions that I want to grow my audience and sell more work and be in better galleries, etc. But I'm really focused on making this a success. So it's, for me, it's I don't want to dabble in it, if you will. I'm really doing this to get me somewhere, and that I can actually, you know, have a real good income supporting my families as well. So there's a couple of things that are important to me there as well. So it's maybe, I don't know, you don't hear that a lot from artists, that they just want to make money out of it as well. But that's also, for me, it's also important.
That's usually why people have a passion or a job, right? Because you got to support the family. So
and for me, it doesn't feel like working. So that's the dream, right? Making a living from something that it's not working at all. It's playing.
Yeah.
And that's the dream. So yeah.
Now, can you show us some of your artwork?
Yeah, sure.
So we can so we can take the tour, because this is what we find. Like I said earlier, this is what most people like. They like to see what's there. And I know David has it listed on, I think, Voice. So we'll put that link below, because David likes to point down like that, so people can go look at that on Noisy Panda and hopefully buy some of your work and go from there.
Okay. So I've got a studio which is really, really hot at the moment.
Okay.
At around 3 or 4 p.m. the sun starts shining inside. I'll show you.
Okay.
And then it's basically, right now it gets too warm to work in here. I don't know if you can see anything.
Yes.
I don't want to be in there. So I'm actually what I'm working on at the moment are 2 birds. There's a buzzard over here. And that is basically, the inspiration for that is that we have a nest of buzzards next door to our house, and it's after our little chicks at the moment. So I'm scaring it away a lot, but it's a beautiful animal. Just so majestic. And this is a work in progress. Okay. And then let me see if I can get the camera. I grew up in Borneo in Malaysia. So I love the animals that are living in the tropics as well. And I don't know, sometimes I do an animal from Borneo, and this is the great hornbill, also work in progress. So I'm working on that. And then there are other paintings that have more meaning than just me being really, I don't know, in awe of these creatures. So this is a self-portrait of mine. Where I'm 7 years old, and I used to drink. Can you see it all right?
Yes.
Just tell me if I'm not pointing to it straight. So basically, this was when I was 7 years old. I dreamt of roaming the earth with a wolf by my side to protect me. You know, it's kind of like this old little girl dream, and surrounding myself with animals. I used to love dreaming about that. So I decided to paint the picture of myself that I would have wanted to be with a wolf. I'm terrified of wolves, by the way, but this one is really nice. And there's a robin there as well. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So robins are one of my, maybe I can call it a totem animal, or an animal that really inspires me because of their red breasts. They're symbolic for I've got one here, for to follow your passions and to follow your heart, and to be brave and courageous, because that's what a robin is.
Very cool.
So a lot of my work is actually, so some magpies up here. A lot of my work is actually about the symbolism, or the hidden symbolism that animals represent to me. And in many different cultures. So I'm going to show you a different part of my, this is where I work, basically. Okay. And it's a mess. I hope you can't see that too well, but I'm going to show you now to where I have put up some work. So this is my office. And
I like the cow.
The cow, yeah, it's called
I like that cow. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's a very, I love we used to live in an area where the cows would just walk up to you and stick their really gross wet noses up to your hand. And so this one is just called hello, because that's what they do. They're just going to say hello to you. So I've got a peacock here. Yeah, you can see.
Very pretty.
Yeah, yeah. And lots of birds in the cupboard over here. So as you can see.
Oh, wow.
If you want to. So a woodpecker and yeah.
I know we have some of this stuff out for purchase through like
Yes.
Noisy Panda. So your stuff,
That's
you can,
right.
oh, there's more cows over there. See,
Yes,
for some reason I'm fascinated
You like
with
the cows?
because they're very comedic to me. And I think that's very cool. So I like that. See, the other one though is better because he's just like right in your face. So
Yeah, indeed.
that was awesome. So with us though, so you have the original work and then they can get the NFT so they can buy both.
Yes, indeed.
And they're all one-off.
Noisy Panda, I've got the butterflies here.
Okay.
And the story behind the butterflies is that they all use, or at least like 6 of the most common butterflies here in Holland, they use the stinging nettle as their larval food plant. But everyone keeps killing them with pesticides or whatever. So they keep killing the butterflies and ladybugs who use them as well for their larvae. So this is basically a series of all the insects that use the stinging nettle, which is a great plant. You can even eat it, right? It's like it's even more nutritious than spinach. So that was just for me to raise a little bit more awareness around, you know, keep a sunny space in the garden for some stinging nettle, and
Stinging nettles,
you know, help the animals around you a little bit. Sorry.
Stinging nettles make great beer. They also make great wine as well.
Do they now? Oh, yeah. I didn't know that, but I have to look into that because I'm a wine lover as well. So that sounds like music to my ears. I've got one more painting, which is more of a representative of the more deeper meanings that I'm also looking at. And I don't know if you can see it very well. It's a wolf. It's a big painting. It's like 1.5 meters. No, 1.5 by 2 meters wide or high. And it's a wolf sitting in the moonlight in a bedroom.
Oh, very
basically,
good.
That's one of my. I'm just going to sit over here. Can you see me okay, or is the back?
Yes. No, we're good.
It's the Anna-Marie. It's hanging in your studio. Is that for sale? The wolf, for instance.
This is for sale, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what sort of price would that be if you want to buy the original?
This wolf is actually that's the most expensive one I've got right now. It's 4,500 euros.
Okay.
So.
But for that size of art, an original piece, that's not a lot of money.
No, exactly. That is actually quite reasonable. But because I haven't been working for a long time, you have to decide where to start, where you're going to price yourself into the market. And so the goal would be one day that would be much, much higher for a piece like as big as that.
And if I wanted to buy the cow for Steve's birthday, how much would that cost me?
You mean the one that says hello?
The cow with that. So let me tell you, that is like that so far out of it. And I know your work is all gorgeous because I've seen, but that cow, like if I was in an art gallery, I would look at all this serious stuff and I would see that cow because I'm an idiot and I'd be like, no, that's the one I want. And my wife would look at me like, you're an idiot. I'm like, I know, but I want the cow.
It's not as artistic or abstract or that, you know.
Right. It's a cow. It's a cow blowing me a kiss. That's the art that I like. There you go. So I'm also the kind of guy that would have like the dogs playing poker. Okay, you know. I'm good. I'm good with that. Yeah.
So and I'm absolutely not a how would you call it? I'm not very much into every art as well. I like what I like, you know, and that's what I tend to paint. And when I was still in several art academies, they were telling me you have to look for certain meaning, whatever. You know, sometimes I just want to paint this because I want to paint it, and then the meaning will follow, or it doesn't, and it doesn't matter. It's just what makes you happy, right? So for me, it makes me happy, so I'm doing it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that cow, you smile every time you see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because your wolves,
and my boys love it. Yeah,
I was going to say,
it's in honor of one of my boys that I thought I'll paint you one. Yeah.
The wolves. So we still have no price from you. So
wait. We'll get back to the price.
I will let you know. I will let you know.
There you go. But the wolves remind me of like Carol LaRoche. She's an artist out of Taos, New Mexico, and I have some of her wolves, and she does kind of like your wolves, like the very. I mean this in a nice way, not about very dark, very. Ominous looking, and so when I'm looking at your wolves, I'm like, oh, that's like Carol LaRoche's wolf. So, and I like that. So I have to
look her up. I don't know her. I have to look her up.
Carol LaRoche. I don't even know if she's still alive. I started collecting her stuff back in the 90s. Wow. That was the 1890s because old farts. but yeah, so back in the 90s. So I've got a couple of her wolves and a couple of her other pieces, but your style reminds me of her style, which is a compliment, by the way.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And the cow is just awesome. And then now this one behind you, what's that? That's almost looks like a Salvador Dali, which I like. But so what's this
Marabou?
one? Yeah.
I don't know if that is also I think it's the English word for
yeah, marabou stork.
That's like the most ugly bird you can ever imagine. So
he looks pretty there though.
Well, have you ever seen them? They are so gross. They actually are like vultures. They eat the carcasses of dead animals.
All right.
And because they don't have a strong beak like a vulture, they just put their whole head with this long beak into the carcass and tear the meat off of the bones.
Right.
But because of that, they lose all of the feathers on their head because it just gets like rots away. So they have like this old man's bald
right. Oh, so they're a politician. Okay, yeah, I got it.
No, I think
she Undertakers.
There you go.
I think she was referring to somebody from New York as investment bankers. I think Steve is what
wow,
she was saying.
Wow. Let's like those are fighting words, little boy. So, but that's cute. No, I like that. That's also to me that's just has a like it's in a good way. It has a whimsical, comical feel to it. Yes. And I know that's not probably what you painted for, but I'm like, oh, okay.
Can see anything in it, right?
Right. So I like this. Yeah. So like I see like I try to look at the good in the art and the wolves. I'm like, oh, those are cool. Okay. But then I'll see like the cow thing and I'll be like, that's awesome. And there's a cow. Everybody listening to this, that's a serious artist or art critic or painter or art gallery owner is probably like, this guy's an idiot. He likes the cow. And then they're all like, well, look at the butterfly. It's this, it's that. Look at the bird. Look at the wolf. Look at that. Yeah. And this idiot likes the cow. There you go. Go figure.
Well, the fun thing is, once I started just to paint what I like, right?
Right.
And I wasn't looking for meaning per se, but it starts to show up now more, like underlying and meanings that are really cool. Like, can I tell you the story of the wolf?
Please.
So basically, when I was like 27 or so, I was in a relationship with a boy, and I was thinking about leaving him. It was either get married and have children with him or leave, and I really didn't know what to decide. And I had this really vivid dream back then about a wolf sitting in the corner of our bedroom, and it really startled me. It was almost like it was really there. And but when I took a closer look or just calmed myself down a bit, it was just sitting there very friendly, like it was trying to tell me something. And so I decided to paint that.
Anna-Marie, can I interrupt you? Can we go back to the wolf on the wall now? Because that's what.
Yeah. So basically, I decided to paint it, and while I was painting it, I was investigating what could it have meant. I don't know if you can see. I'm just going to close.
Oh, we can see it. Very pretty.
So it's basically the old bedroom, and it had a small window, and the moonlight was shining onto this wolf. So when I investigated what's the meaning of what did he try to tell me, and I called this piece "The Visitor," by the way, and it actually I found a meaning for me is that it is okay to be a lone wolf or to be a loner, because I've always wondered, why am I not like other women who are all very social and good at being with other people all the time? I'm not. I'm like a hermit. I'm really good at being alone. So it's good that I'm married and I've got kids, and then I have to pick myself out.
Wait, we lost you there. We lost your mic.
Oh, are you still there?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Now we can hear you.
Sorry. Good. So basically, it tells me that it's okay to be a lone wolf.
Right.
Just to accept who you are. But then when I was looking at other things, because I thought that there's more to this piece than I knew back then. And then finally a story hit me. Do you know the old Indian tale of a son asking its father, that when they see two wolves fighting, a white wolf and a black wolf, they're fighting. And the kid asks his father, who's going to win? The white one or the black one? Like the light or the darkness, the evil or the good. And then normally the answer they always tell you is that the father said, the one you feed will win. But it's actually not the real answer to the story, because the real answer of the father was, you have to feed them exactly right, both of them. Because if you don't feed the evil or the dark wolf, it will grow, its shadow will grow bigger, and it actually will come to bite you at times that you didn't expect it, because you think you're just working on the good side of yourself. So this is a theme for me, light and darkness and good and evil and what it is, etc. And then you get, for instance, those gurus that abuse their followers because they think they're so good and they're blind to their shadow side. So that's what this painting turned out to be. And if you look very carefully, it's got a shadow, the wolf.
Yep.
But the shadow is actually, it's not correct because it's the second wolf. The shadow is the second wolf.
Right.
But if you look at it at first glance, it's basically a wolf with a shadow, but it's the white and the dark wolf sitting there, and you need to give them both space. So I just love how that, while painting it, how that story basically just came to me. And then
I'm really glad you explained that, because that painting's going to be sold now.
I
Obviously,
was going to say, in about 5 minutes, people, once this airs next week, people are going to be, or watching it now, will be airing, but they'll be gone.
Whoever buys it,
it's special. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's special. Yeah, it's got a fantastic story to go with it. But sorry, I interrupted you.
And we're going to make up a story for the cow. Don't worry about that. We'll come up with a good story for the cow and the bird behind her.
It's a Dutch cow, Steve. So that's a start.
Oh, well, there you go. So, so I can see him in Amsterdam. So, but anyway.
But I think it's a really cool theme, the lightness and darkness. And I've just, last week I sold a big piece, a stag with a magpie on its back. And it's it actually sold online, which is lovely.
So why the magpie on the back? Because I mean, traditionally magpies were, well, when I was brought up in the UK, so magpies were not very prevalent. They are everywhere now, it seems. But if you saw a magpie, you'd always have to stop and speak to it and say, "Good morning, Mr. Magpie."
Oh, really? Because, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because they were considered to be something quite special. But I have them in the garden here. They terrorize the cat. But anyway, it's me. But why then why the magpie on the stag?
Magpie? Yeah. So basically, the stag, the red stag, it's like this huge red stag, almost life size, in this painting that is very dark on the bottom where it stands, and it basically the red stag steps from the shadows into the light. It is actually called From the Shadows into the Light. And basically in a lot of ancient cultures, the red stag is actually a symbol of being in touch with the heavens, right? Via its antlers, and encourages you to choose light, or to step out of the shadows and to choose the right side, or the good side inside of you. The magpie is interesting because they actually sit with magpies a lot. Ravens and magpies, and the magpie, it underlines the meaning of the shadow and the darkness and light and black and white, because it is actually black and white. So it encourages you to look further than black and white, because there's grays. But even if you look closely to the feathers of the magpie, it's got the most beautiful blue and green fluorescent feathers. So it's not even the grays, it's the colors that you have to look for inside, in between the black and white, if you will. So it's basically to, for especially in this world where you can see it all around you, where you have to be this or that, or it seems there's no
no in between,
if you will, has gone. It's just gone crazy. It's just gone wild, and that's one of the things that I am trying to warn people for.
But there's a lucky owner now. You said you sold.
Yeah. Someone in New York actually received it.
You hear that, David? New York.
Yes,
someone in New York, David.
New York, yeah.
And I'm sure Anna Marie has not seen our shows. So
not yet, Stephen. Not yet.
No. I go off on New York tangents. So I'm just letting David know that someone in New York, David, New York, bought one of her paintings. We have taste in New York. We just don't all like cows. So we buy nice paintings as well in New York. Just to let you know.
Well, I just have to remind everybody who's either watching this or listening to the podcast that any opportunity that Stephen has to talk about New York, because I think I
didn't know that. Yeah.
I think Stephen actually comes from New York. I'm not.
Are you
I'm
from
not
New
sure.
York?
Born and raised.
Ah,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
So yeah, it was going to be called Tour Old Farts in New York, I think, but we changed it.
I like making noises better.
There you go, making noises. Yes. So in the beginning, we weren't sure how that was going to play out. You know, two old farts making noises could go a lot of ways. So,
I think it's the most brilliant title. I started laughing out loud when I saw this. Two old farts making noises and expectations are real low. Well,
yes, and they are, as you can tell from how we interview and have a good time. It's like, you know, well, and now when we first met,
and now our audience count as well. You know that. I mean,
I know. Well, when we first met Anne-Marie, she said, "I want to do the show." I said, "Great, we've got 12 whole listeners globally. We think."
We think.
Moms have died and dads have died. We know it's not family. It's got to be people we don't know. So now we're up to 17 as of whatever today's taping. So we're skyrocketing.
Yeah, exactly. You've almost doubled your numbers.
Yes, I know. When we get 100, big party. Everyone's invited. So at the rate we're going, that should be in the year 2035. So we're very excited about that. So our expectations are low. We're good with that. We're not a bad thing. But anyway, back to the magpies. Sorry. So.
No, that was basically. So I'm really, really grateful that that magpie is somewhere in New York right now on the back of its Red Stag, and hopefully inspiring people to step into the light.
So now, how did the New York buyer find you?
I've sold it via Saatchi.com.
Oh, okay.
The online art gallery. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, hopefully we can get some people to start buying the NFT and the real as well. So as the NFTs start taking off, I think the issue with NFTs, and we've discussed this before with other people, is that they think it's like, and what we're trying to say to them is down the road, like today, not so much. Like today, because of the Bored Ape, people go, oh my God. So today it's like so much, you're not really buying the digital assets. Nice. Yeah. But really you get the physical. But down the road, when it's actually worth something, not the physical, but the digital side of the world, when people are like, I want digital more than physical, or metaverse takes off in 20 years type of thing, then all of a sudden people can kick themselves that they didn't buy where I think they call it poly digital now. So where they could buy the physical and the NFT. So that's what we did with Noisy Panda is like, okay, let's make sure that the artist can sell both. Yeah. And then this way somebody gets both.
I think it's a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant idea. Just like, right now, if I sell a painting and it's not sold with an NFT or whatever, it's just gone.
Yep.
And you don't see anything. And, that's the old world, basically. I think this is the new world where it's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So, but the good thing with it, like, and I'm going to go to my cow because that's my favorite. So if I bought the cow and I hang it on my wall, in 20 years, let's say cows are in. Don't ask me why they're in. Taking over the planet, and I have the digital, but I want to keep the physical. I can always sell my digital asset and still have my physical. And I think a lot of people don't realize that it's a nice way to collect. Like when we were a kid, you get a baseball card, and if you wanted to trade, I had to give my baseball card for the other baseball card. But if you had a digital and a physical, it's kind of like the art world, right? I have a digital and a physical. I can do both.
Yes.
So to me, I think it's a great idea. I think it's still an idea that it's going to take a while to get there, but the artists and the art galleries that are catching on to it now, I think, are the ones that are going to be ahead of the curve in the next 5 years when everyone's like, oh my God. And that's why like you and other artists were like, just do one. Here's your one painting. Here's one NFT. We're not doing 5,000, one. Yeah. And sometimes they'll do 10 just to do, but really I want that. I like when I buy art, I have the exclusivity that I own it. Yeah. So to me, it's like, I have a digital and now I have the physical. So it's like, I've got everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's also, I think we had this discussion before that it's a lot of these NFTs are being sold in Asia. Mm-hmm. And so we're a little bit behind the curve really in the West because they see it as sort of social value, see what I own. Because people are walking around, virtually with their whole lives on some sort of mobile platform, whether it be on a tablet or on a telephone, and it's just another way of showing people, hey, you're a little bit sophisticated. And like Steve says, the fantastic thing about it is that you've still got this art. And I know we put a little bit of a story to every NFT that I minted for you, because I know I minted some all the butterflies. I know we've done the robins. We would have liked to have put a lot more of the story, and I'm so grateful that you told us a little bit more about how you feel about your art, because there wasn't enough room in the description box for the NFT to put it all in.
Yes.
Because but also for you, it's not only NFTs, is it? Because I know you do cards and all. Could you tell us a little bit more about what else you do?
So yeah, indeed, I've got indeed art cards that I just sell in my shop with envelopes, and I do another thing I really love doing is creating fine art prints. So it's basically, I don't know, we call it a giclée. So it's a fine art print, and I do them in limited editions of 25. So they're hand numbered and signed, and there's only 25 of those. And again, so
Anne-Marie, are they also based on your paintings, or are these unique?
So basically I create a really high quality picture of the art, and then I use that to print it, or I don't do that myself, but I print it on Haarlem German etching paper, which is like the finest of the finest, and then I sometimes frame them for people if they want that as well. But actually, for the peacock that is over there, there's the painting. So basically, it's a bit dark, but basically, it's a really nice option for people who they don't need to have the original artwork. And it's obviously it's at a lower price. You can still have that artwork in your home. So I like providing those kind of options as well. Yeah.
Well, this is something we've been sort of trying to encourage some of our artists to do as well, because there's that one piece of art, and it goes for the one price with the NFT. For serious collectors, because I know Steve is a serious collector. So
I can show you one actually. There's
But the prints are really interesting, because you could then have 25 prints at a print price, signed by yourself.
Exactly. So
and the NFT to go with it.
Pretty.
So this is a kingfisher, and this is actually, everyone who sees it, they actually think it's the painting, because it's the quality is just remarkable. And this one is with a white border, but I can also do without the white border. So it's amazing, right? So the original is sold. Right. So that's another thing I like. I still have a piece of my own painting with me if I want to. And so the original was sold for, I think it was 850 euros. And this print, you can get it including the frame for 235, which is, it's basically nothing. But it's nice. Yeah.
Well, we'll tell everybody that if they can't reach out to you, they can reach out to us at Noisy Panda or Two Old Farts Making Noises, and then we can put them in touch with you so they can go ahead if they want to purchase something. But we'll have all your links down here. David always wants me to point down there. Down here or somewhere. So if I don't forget to put them in. But no, we'll put them in. Now, when you say you have a shop, do you have an online shop, or do you have like a physical shop?
Web shop. Yeah. So I've got on my website, I've got an online
we'll have to get that link and put that down there so people can go to your shop and hopefully purchase some art. And if you do purchase art and you saw this video, tell her you saw it on us, because all of a sudden she'll have 12 million people on her site. She'll be like, I'm doing really well. And I'll be like, wait, we did that. We did that.
Let's just help Anne-Marie along the way here, because tell us your website name for the people just listening to the podcast.
Basically, that's www.annemarieverdel, VERDEL.com. That's it.
Okay, that's all one word.
That's original.
It's my name.
All right. That's cute. I like that. All right. Well, we'll put that down there as well. Hopefully people will go to the site and see and purchase, because that's awesome. Your stuff is gorgeous. I mean, I love it. So if the cow comes for sale, let me know. So I won't tell my wife till after I purchase it, because she's literally going to look at me like, seriously, I can just go buy you the dogs playing poker with cigars. I'm like, I'm good with that one too.
The cow you can get also as a fine art print.
Oh, okay.
Fine art print. So
that's more in my budget, I think, for you, Steve.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So, but we don't know yet. She's still working on a price of the cow, so we have to see what the cow comes out to. that's a special noisy panda, two old farts price, you know. So we'll see what that comes out to be. That, and we may use that cow as our new logo on my hat. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
But Anna-Marie, on the serious side, are there prints available of the cow? Because I agree with, they are. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not sure if we've got that, but would love to do NFTs of that, of the prints. If you're going to do a limited edition of the print.
Yes.
And then we'll link that up to an NFT, and because I'm sure people are just going to be, I mean, if it amuses Steve, and it's going to amuse a lot of people.
It'd be lovely to work with you guys on that. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Well, we enjoy working with you. David says it's always a pleasure and fun. So, and David's our NFT guru. I am not. I mean, I know what they are and whatnot, but David's the one who deals with all the artists, and we deal on the finance and whatever side. So, so when we get to interview people, it's fun because he's like, oh, like we've interviewed other artists, as you saw when we went to our site on the Two Old Farts YouTube channel. And it's just, you get to hear their stories, and it's fascinating. So like your story going from shell to that's fascinating.
Well, actually, I'm in a different, oil business at the moment.
Yes, I was going to say you're in a different oil business.
So
and
when
the Prince, go ahead, Dave.
As an HR officer, she's probably been interviewing us for jobs, Steve.
I was going to say, well, I would be in the office on a daily basis with people filling out forms. So it's probably a good thing. So now in the prints that you're doing, I know you're saying they're prints, but are they are you doing them as a seriograph, a lithograph, or are you just doing them as a print? And then are you breaking like the stone or the mold?
There are only, I think 2 or 3 companies in Holland that actually have the type of printer that can actually create this quality. And
gotcha.
They have like the loads of the color. It's all very technical for me, but so there's only 3 places where you can get these prints done, and it is the same quality as if it is the lithography.
Right, lithograph, right?
Lithographic, So the quality is just it's just the only thing you miss is the structure of the paint, basically.
Right.
Because I paint with lots of paint, so it doesn't, you don't have that, but it's the picture itself is just, I'm always blown away by them.
Yeah. Okay, very cool. No, it's I was telling David, I read a book on Van Gogh, and all they did, or I'm sorry, Leonardo da Vinci, and it was talking about how he painted and how he sketched. So it was a 700-page book, and here I'm thinking I'm going to learn all about Leonardo da Vinci. So there's like a paragraph. He had a lover. He was a guy. Great. Could care less. We talk about some of his inventions and how he was ahead of his time. Great. So now I've covered out of 750 pages, 50. The next 700 is all about his pencil strokes on everything. It was 700 pages on his pencil stroke. Is this deep for this? It's this deep for that. I'm thinking, all right, listen, I don't be rude or anything, but 2 millimeters and 6 millimeters means nothing to me. So it was fascinating, but it was all about pencil strokes. And I'm like, I was hoping for a little more. So now when I listen to artists like you talk about it, and you say, well, which is true, like on the art that I have, you can touch it, and you can feel the bumps, you can feel the groove. It does bring it to a whole new light. So I truly enjoy that. Yeah.
And what I love about paintings as well, and you probably have it with photos, but what I love about the painting, because we have one above our fireplace hanging now. It's a big leopard hanging in the tree, looking down on you.
Right.
It's a friendly leopard, don't worry. But it changes with the light. So the painting changes with whether the sun is shining on it or when it's in the shadow. And that's what I really love about the paintings. There was one day that the sun was shining like right smack on the walls and not on the rest, and basically it creates a whole different painting again, with depending on how the light shines on.
And everybody sees something different in a painting, as they do with a photo. Like we'll go to a gallery and someone's like, look at this, and I'm looking and I'm like, I don't see that, but I see this. And that's one of the nice things about art, is that everybody has their own opinion on it.
Yeah, and this might sound a bit fuzzy, but I guess the longer I'm painting now and selling my work, because I always have these discussions with friends, from why would I buy a painting that is so expensive? I can just have the photo of it and put it on the wall. So I was always wondering what is the difference? Because there is a difference, but I just couldn't put it into words. And what I'm sensing more and more is that the artist has put their heart and soul in something, with every little brush stroke, with mixing the colors and putting it on there, there's just so much love in it. So basically you're putting love upon your wall. If it's done right. Well, for some artists, it might be, you know, their inspiration might be hate or
Right,
whatever. You know, everyone has their inspiration. You might like that. I don't know. But that's what you're putting. You're basically taking a piece of someone's heart and soul. Yeah. And you can sense it from the work. It oozes it, basically.
Yes. When I see a painting, like I'm going to go to your cow now. That's when I talk to Dave, it'll be like the cow lady. That'll be how, unfortunately, that you'll be remembered in a good way.
Better than the bird lady, yeah.
In a good way. But like I have Rodriguez, but he is the one who did all these blue dogs for vodka bottles, right? When I went to his gallery in New Orleans, I saw he did a bear. I think it's the only bear he's ever done. I have it, and I was like, it made me smile. Martin Bradley, another artist, he has something called the Great Bear. Apparently, there's a theme here, and I have his Great Bear. And then some of the dollies I have, not to play with, but Salvador. So the stuff when I would walk in, even as obscure and as crazy as it is, when I started to collect when I was young, a friend of our family said, collect what you like. Make it, has to touch you. Because if you're collecting to make a profit, like you said, good luck. You better just be buying the old masters and the Picassos and the whatever, right? But he says, buy whatever, but buy what you like.
Yeah, buy what you like.
Yeah. And what it touches you. So when I see something, it makes me smile. I'm like, okay, I have to have that. So it's nice that I have stuff that people will probably, what I paid for, it'll never go higher. And there's stuff I have that's probably over the last 30 years is appreciated 5,000%. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm okay with that because it's stuff that when I look at it, it makes me smile. Exactly. I'm not worried about what happens past that.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that when they buy art, especially in this digital NFT age, right?
Well, and forgive me if I say this, guys, but and I'm not saying this about you. So So basically, in general, I do think that there's a lot of BS in the art world.
Oh yeah,
where people are being sold. We call it in Dutch fried air,
right?
And sometimes it's real, but a lot of the other times I think people might buy things when they're in a gallery and they're being talked into something, but they might not even love the piece that they're buying. Correct. But they think, oh, it's a good investment, and that's perfectly fine, right? But that's not my world, basically.
Yeah. I'm like you. I have to love it. So I don't care if it's like street art in New York, where they paint near Central Park.
A painting of a painter in New York once, a street artist, and I still love this piece.
And it's like $25 or $100, and it'll never be worth anything, but it just touches you. And then, or you can buy some ridiculous thing like that Andy Warhol that just sold a few months back with Marilyn Monroe for $195 million. I'm like, it's nice, but it's not for me. That's not $195 million. It's like, that's 10 grand. Like that, that's a 10 grand
for you, but for someone else it is, For
somebody else, you're going to go, oh, it's going to increase. And I think I was fortunate that I was grounded when I was younger. The people that I knew that collected, they're like, you buy what you love. And I would look at some of their collections, and I'd be like, and they'd be like, blah blah blah, and this one and this one. They had like the name, all the names, and they'd be like, and over here, no one you ever heard of, and they go, oh, beautiful stuff. And so as I got older and I collected, I was like, okay, I'll do that. I bought what I liked. And if I liked a known artist, that was going to be worth something cool. But yes, I agree. When you go to galleries and they put you in the private room with the painting, and they're like, oh, he hangs in this museum and that. Listen, pal, I could care less. Is it going to look good? Like, next to my dogs playing poker, smoking cigars, drinking scotch, painting. That's all I want. And it has to touch you. And I think a lot of people get into that, I own a so-and-so, who cares? Yeah. Like, there's only 1% of the population that even knows who that artist is. And I mean, even today, if you say to someone, a Picasso or a Lichtenstein, or you go through this whole thing, even a Rembrandt, whatever, most people have no clue. I mean, they heard about it in school. They don't know.
Yeah.
So it's a much different mentality. And I think now with the digital, I think if you just buy what you love, you have a beautiful collection. And so it's not worth anything. Who cares? But it's worth something to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people don't understand. Like I said, and I mean this as a compliment, your cow, whether it's worth $1 or $100 million in 20 years, whether I own it or someone else owns it, it's one of those things, every time you see it, it'll make you smile. So that's worth the price of it. And that's what people don't understand. That's what art's supposed to do. Yes, you can collect it to make money, but that's a crapshoot. Just like, with cars and jewelry, the list will go on, right? So it's the same thing. And I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
We're in
Well,
that society today of like, we gotta, which is
Yeah,
bad.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, two things just to bring us to the end of this this wonderful interview
He's always
today.
a killjoy. He acts
Yeah.
like my dad. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So,
yeah.
Yes.
That's what happens when you adopted me, Steve. I think that's.
I know. I realize that.
yeah.
I realize that.
Yeah. Well, two things really that stuck to me. One is, I seriously think, looking at your work, Anna Marie, that you have moved out of the darkness and have moved into the light. And I'm sure people are going to see your paintings.
Oh,
and
I
they're gonna,
love that.
and they're going to think, wow, I have to have that, and they should too. And yeah, your enthusiasm is the same as your painting. It's bubbly, it's effervescent, and yeah, people would be foolish not to invest in you and invest in your art. And yeah, from me and from Stephen, thank you very much for the opportunity of speaking to you today. And like we always say, all the links are down here, guys. Get it before it's gone.
And
Thank you.
also,
Thank you
please
so
come
much.
back again. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Well done. Thank you.